One that says,
All right. Well, welcome to Abundant Health. We're glad to have you here and tell you a little bit about who we are, what this program is, where it came from, and what this year of 2026 will look like for us on the Abundant Health journey. So, over the next 30, 45 minutes or so, we're going to kind of explain to you the different pillars of our Abundant Health program and how to conquer this battle of health that so many of us seem to find ourselves in. And Abundant Health, in short, it's a year-long faith-based approach to handling our health God's way. So, before we jump into the actual program, I just want to share with you a little bit about who each of us are. So, my name's Erica. I am a mom to two little kids that I homeschool, so they keep me very busy. I have been in the health and wellness industry since 20, what year did I get married? 2011. So 2009, I guess, is when I took my first job as a group fitness instructor. And went and got my degree in health and wellness. I actually owned a fitness studio in Sellersburg for about 10 years and really loved the whole fitness world until I had kids and realized that all of a sudden it just wasn't as easy as it once was to figure out how to keep myself healthy, even though I knew what to do. I gained a lot of weight when I was pregnant with both of my kids. I went from 120 pounds to 200. So, a total of 80 pounds. And that's when I really understood like what it took to actually get healthy. And I remember some of my clients before I had ever had to walk the health journey. I can remember some of them saying, a few of them actually, like, you don't understand it because you've never walked it. And so after having kids, I had to walk that journey. And I now understand how much harder it is and how important that accountability piece is. So for me, Abundant Health really is not only a program for others, but something I feel in my heart that it's a journey I need to take for myself, just to get back on track and get back into the accountability and making time for myself. My kids are 4 and 7, so they're almost big enough now that they can do things that, when you have a 2-year-old and a baby, you can't. So I'm getting to a season where I can breathe a little better, and I just really feel that God. I was in church maybe back in May, I think it was, and I was dealing with a herniated disc issue, and I just heard God. I was like, Lord, can you please heal my back? And I just clearly heard him say, yes, I can, but you have to turn from these ways, right? So God can and will walk this journey with us, but there are things we have to do. Last year when my back was just killing me, I just felt the Lord say, I can heal you, but you got to start working with me on this. We got to start making some changes. So that's when I wrote out a 12-year, I mean, not a 12-year, a 12-month plan of this is how we get healthy. These are the principles that I learned in college, that I learned through all my training, but I need some accountability to do this. And that's when Nikki and Ray and I started working together. So that's just a little piece of me and how this kind of came to be for me. I want to go ahead and introduce you to Ray. She's one of our coaches in the program, and I'm going to let her tell you about herself.
Okay. Well, I have been in this. I was just talking to my mom. I'm out of town right now visiting my family in Louisiana. And I was like, oh my gosh, I've been into group exercise since 1983. When
Wow.
I graduated high school, I'm like, that's over 40 years. That's scary. But I grew up kind of like Erica doing tap, jazz, and ballet, and dance was always something that I loved. So it was just kind of natural. I loved music, I loved dance. So I got into group exercise back in the Jane Fonda days. And I was an English teacher, taught for over 20 years, and I just wanted to change. And this is kind of like midlife career change. And I thought, what else am I passionate about? Well, being an English teacher, you have summers off, you have breaks, and I don't know what most English teachers read, but I was reading diet and nutrition, health and nutrition. And so I thought, okay, I'm going to go for my passion. Got a certification through Mind Body Green in nutrition and um, health and wellness coaching. And then I got my national board a year ago, November, for health and wellness coaching. And just been walking this journey for years. I developed a thyroid issue, which then led to, I believe, and I was probably in my 30s when that happened, and I had a 3 and a 5-year-old, and didn't realize that my diet, my nutrition, my exercise, everything I was doing was probably contributing to that, and hormone issues, and a move across the country, and just life change, stress, all those things, I think really led to this thyroid issue, which downstream led to osteoporosis issues and some other metabolic issues. So where normally I would work out and I'd feel great and have lots of energy, I just hit the wall. So this has been a journey, and I just, with, the internet, YouTube especially, I just absorb everything I can get my hands on. And just this year, I kind of came to the conclusion there's so much information out there that it's kind of gotten to be analysis paralysis. So where do I draw the line? How do I decide who I'm gonna like really sink my teeth in and try this method, or, for my health? And how do I translate that to other people that I'm coaching that are even more confused because they're getting all these mixed messages and conflicting messages as well. Me and a couple of friends have been teaching this book called What the Bible Says About Healthy Living. And that was another way God's kind of directed me to, all right, I want you to just put the blinders on and just see what my word says, and, stop making foods idols or the enemy. It's like, I made this for food. I want you to enjoy it. But it was three principles: eat what God made for food, eat it the way God made it. So, in other words, eliminate as much processed foods as you can. And the third principle was don't let any food or drink become your God. I'm like, okay, that's simple. That's no brainer. So, that's kind of what I want to communicate. And I'm just really excited about working with Erica and Nikki because I feel like we're all like-minded, and, we all believe in nutrition. We all believe in moving our bodies more. So it's just doing that in alignment with our faith to truly have a holistic program. Holistic with a capital H, meaning Holy Spirit.
Right.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that.
Welcome.
Yeah, Ray is phenomenal. She knows so much when it comes to health, and she is fully led by God. And as she was sharing that, I thought of what Nikki had said to me when we were creating this program and trying to decide, yes, we all believe, we know our beliefs, but do we make this a Christian-based program or not? And Nikki just said we need to be unapologetically faith-based. And I think that is what grounds this abundant health journey. And that is what is going to help us in our health journey. It
Mhm.
like God is our secret sauce. He's what we need to carry us through. So thank you for sharing that. Next, I want to introduce you to our other coach. There's three of us who are going to be helping you along your 2026 health journey, and this is Nikki.
Hey, I'm Nikki, and I have always struggled with my weight. I especially in I was a sophomore in high school when I was diagnosed with Hashimoto's hypothyroid, and I've just always it's always been a roller coaster. And come we had it was what was it, 2015. We had two small girls. I have two um two girls. One of them, Chloe's 20 and Alyssa is almost 17. And my husband and I, we just always, we did not, when the girls were little, we didn't eat well. We just, it was just not good at all. We ate out a lot. I didn't cook a lot, and it was just a lot of processed stuff. But come 2015, I just was done. I was tired of feeling the way I was feeling. I just felt run down and tired and depressed and super anxious and all the things that you can think of, and had horrible reflux. And so I decided enough was enough, and I was introduced to Beachbody, the 21 Day Fix. So I started with that, and it was teaching me how to eat whole foods, and to, portion everything as well. But as I was doing that, I struggle with food addiction. So if it's in the house and it's anything sweet, like if it's in the house, I'm gonna eat it. So what's in my house, it needs to be the whole foods and the healthy options and stuff like that. And so we sat the girls down, my husband and I, and we just told them when they were little, we were like, look, mom's no longer going to be buying the junk foods and all the stuff that they liked, because those were trigger foods for me, and I couldn't have those around. It's like putting drugs in front of a drug addict. So, we sat them down and we figured we want to show them when they're little how to treat their bodies instead of when they get older to be in the same position we're in now. And so we we made it a family lifestyle change. So um, I just started cooking all the time and prepping, and just everything was 90% whole foods. I mean, nobody's perfect, right? So 90% whole foods. And I just, I don't know. I felt so much better. And I was working out with their workouts on it's like at the time it was DVDs, but um, now I'm sure it's all streamed. But anyway, it was at home. I would work out. And so the girls would see that, because I was a stay-at-home mom. And so I just wanted to be there. I wanted to be a good example for them. And I felt better. I ended up losing from 2015 to 2017. I ended up losing 80 pounds, and my husband was down 110. And I just grew a passion for nutrition and exercise. So I started looking to see what can I do to start helping other people, because I would share my weight loss journey on Facebook with people, and they would be asking me, what are you doing, and asking all these questions. So I wanted to be able to help. So I started researching, and the only word I knew to look up was like dietitian. And that was taking me to a 4-year degree, which me and school aren't friends. So I was like, nope, that's not for me. So then I looked more, and it was leading me to certifications. So it led me to personal training certification. And in order to get to the nutrition part, I had to do the full personal training certification first, because that covers everything. That covers nutrition, it covers all the specialist areas in one, and then you can branch off from there. So I did my personal training certification, and then I found the nutrition specialist certification and started studying that, and um, grew a huge passion for nutrition, because just the stuff that I learned through that specialist program was just very aggravating with, what they can put in our foods and what is banned in other countries that is allowed in the United States. It's just aggravating, and how they can put stuff, how they can market things and put stuff on the packaging that isn't necessarily true. All the things, how they lay stuff out in the grocery store on purpose. So all of that. And so I decided that with my personal training and nutrition specialist, I started doing in-home training. All of that from 2017 till 2020 came. And obviously we weren't allowed to go anywhere. So I was no longer able to go into their homes. And I wasn't offering full virtual training at that point. So um, it just kind of dissolved. And then because of the food addiction, I started with my emotional eating. All that through all the stress of 2020 was allowing those trigger foods to come back into the house. And I end up gaining not all, but a lot of my weight back. And then I just got mad. I got mad at myself, and because I was back on the yo-yo. And so for 4 years, it took me to get past being mad at myself. And finally, this past January in 25, I was like, enough's enough. I'm done with this. So I got back on, going back to the basics, started listening to myself because that was the hardest part. Like, I know everything that I'm supposed to be doing. It's just a matter of listening to myself and asking God to help me. Get past the food addiction because I couldn't have done it the first time by myself, and I didn't do it the first time by myself, so I knew that without him I couldn't do it again. So that's one thing that I surrender every single day is my health journey and just my day in general, and just ask him to guide me and to help me to crave the foods that he puts on this earth and not the junk that you know, is so easily to grab. And to just, guide all of it. And then come this past spring, I felt a nudge from God telling me to do something with my certifications again. And I was like, I like to try to say no. I like to try to tell him I don't want to do that. But it's not that I didn't want to do that, but I didn't understand what that looked like. So then it scared me. And I was like, I don't know what this means. So I decided finally to listen, and I said something to Erica about, or I actually said something in our WOW group that I just felt that nudge to do something with my certifications, but I didn't know what it looked like. I didn't know what that meant, like what I'm supposed to be doing. And Erica messaged me and said something that she had was looking at pressing the go button on Abundant Health this past summer. But she had other things going on and didn't do that. So we met and we got to talking, and it just it was real it worked. It just is kind of everything clicked. It was all working how it was supposed to, and I was like, okay, I think this is what we're supposed to do. And he told me whatever you do, glorify me in it, because that he is the one who gives us our blessings and who gives us the strength to get through anything. So, Erica had in that meeting with Erica, she said, I don't want to leave anybody out. Like if we make this a faith-based journey, will that leave other people out? And I'm like, no, because that's not telling people who aren't you know, who don't believe, that doesn't mean that they can't be part of our group. That just means that they know that it's going to be talked about and that he's going to be glorified through it. And at first I had told her, I kind of agreed with her, and then as I was driving home, he reminded me, excuse me, I told you that whatever you do, you're supposed to glorify me. So I knew we couldn't take him out of it. So um that is how all of that began, and we just all started talking, and it all has come to life so far. So I'm very excited to work with everybody, and I think it's going to be a great program.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing all of that. It's really cool to see how God has kind of brought this program to be. I mean, that's really what it is because we all have the certifications, the years of experience, blah, blah, blah. But we are a team that are all three going to be working with you because we all have different experiences and seasons and things that we can share with you. So while we are bringing God into this entire journey, we also have a lot of health knowledge that we're going to teach you on, okay? And that's what I want to do next. Now that you've met all the coaches, I want to explain to you what you're going to be taught over this next year, what abundant health is. So, the abundant health journey is a 12-month commitment. The reason being is how many of you, I can't see you, we're not in a room, I wish we were, but if you were raising your hand, you would say, I have did a 6-week challenge, or I have did a 21-day fix, or I have did X, Y, and Z. That's a short amount of time and we do great. And then we stop and we go right back to where we were because the habit hasn't had time to develop. So while we were building this program, we just talked about what do we actually need as women to truly not just lose some weight, but to change our mindset around health, to rewire our brain. And we really need a long, accountable commitment. So this is a 12-month journey that we're all going to walk together, where every single month you have a different skill you're going to be learning. And it's based off of our 5 pillars of health. So everything we teach you is going to be built around one of these 5 pillars because they all 5 are crucial for getting healthy long term. You could learn to eat really well, but if you're extremely stressed, you're not going to be healthy. You could exercise every day, but if you're not getting a good night's sleep, you're missing pillars of your health. Okay. So our 5 pillars are nutrition, movement, stress, sleep, and change. Those are the 5 things that we're not only going to teach you, but we're really going to rewire your thought patterns with over the next 12 months. So the first one, obviously nutrition. We all know that we can't, outwork our food at the gym. Nutrition is, gosh, it's like 80% of this journey. It's just such a huge part of getting healthy. So we have to learn first to develop this healthy relationship with food. And I love how Nikki shares that she has food addiction because I think when we realize our unhealthy relationship with food, we have to realize that first in order to establish a healthy one. And I'm a lot like Nikki when it comes to mine is sweets. Like I have a really hard time with that fruit of the spirit called self-control, learning that one, or maybe I should say letting the spirit lead me in that. Sometimes Erica tries to produce the fruit and it doesn't look like self-control. And we're going to talk a lot about not only what is the right thing to eat, how do we learn to have a healthy relationship with food, but what are the emotions tied to that? What are the things we learned even as kids that we don't realize that, like if you think just for a second how you were raised, I know I ate Pop-Tarts for breakfast and whatever I could find for dinner. And it's no fault to my parents. They were busy working and trying to take care of us, but nutrition was never taught to me. And so we're going to really dig deep into like what were we trained on even in our developmental ages that what I realized personally, I went to school for health and fitness. I have a 4-year degree in that and I ran my own studio for 10 years. I coached hundreds of women. I knew all the right things. But when my life got really stressful and chaotic and my story, it's too long for this webinar, but when that happened, I realized I reverted back to my 7-year-old Erica, who was like, give me the Oreos and Pop-Tarts. Even though I literally had went to college for this and did it for years, when my stress became unbearable, I went back to those habits that I learned as a kid. And so when it comes to nutrition, we're not only going to show you the things that are, how did God create our bodies? What foods did he create for us? But we're going to get to the emotional side of it too, of why am I struggling in this area? Why can't I break free in this area? So that's pillar number 1. And remember, every lesson we teach you, every conversation we have will be built around one of these 5 pillars. So pillar number 2 is movement. We have to move our bodies. Our bodies were made to move. And we're going to, over time, you may not be able to do it immediately, but over time, we're going to teach you and show you how to get into a place where you are moving 5 days a week. Or on those days when you're not doing a committed workout plan, maybe you go outside. What are some ways you can get movement into your life? And the key to this, I told you guys I had a fitness studio. It was a fitness studio for women. The key to maintaining an exercise program for most of us, there are a few of us who just enjoy working out. Most people don't, though. And for most of us, the key is to have a accountability piece to it, right? So within this abundant health journey, you're going to have some accountability partners, and we're going to be holding you to, hey, we have to move our body, but we're also going to show you how to do that because sometimes we just don't know what to do. So inside our Abundant Health app, you're going to have workouts in there that you can do at home, or you, if you want to go to a gym, you can. But we're going to start to not only show you how to move, but also help you find fun ways to add movement into your life. So that's the second pillar in our journey. The third pillar is stress. And I don't know how many of you know this, but the stress hormone cortisol actually has 4 times the receptors in our tummy area than anywhere else. So if you're struggling to lose your belly fat, maybe ask yourself, how much stress is in my life? And I just think the culture we live in today, wow, it's so fast paced and it's so stressful for most of the world. And we first have to recognize that. So, we're going to talk a lot about what are those stressors in your life? What can we remove? What do we need to learn to manage? Because I have a 4-year old. I can't really remove them, neither do I want to, but often it's stressful, right? A 4 and 7-year old. So I have to learn, okay, how do I manage this season of my life? Because the truth is, if you have high stress, it's nearly impossible to get healthy. Whether it's your belly fat or, like for me, it becomes these knots in my shoulders, right? Where my body just becomes so tense, I can't hardly walk because everything hurts. So, stress, your body keeps the score, and stress will hold you back from getting well. So, this is a really important pillar to us and something that the Bible talks about so many times. Be anxious for nothing. Like the Bible, Jesus gives this example when he's calm in the storm, and he is continually reminding us to not worry, but to seek him. And part of this group, the accountability piece, is going to be learning how to take those stresses and not only manage them, but give them back to God and be reminded of that. Because whether we realize it or not, our mental health is directly tied to our physical health. And so this is a really important pillar in your health journey, and it can't be left out. None of these pillars can be left out, guys. So if you go join a program in the new year that's like 21-day boot camp or something, and all you're doing is working out, that's great, but you're missing the other pillars. Think of a building, a building with these big pillars in the front holding up the platform. These all have to be a part of our health journey, because if you're missing one of the pillars, the building's just going to crumble. And this is the truth with our health. These all have to be a part of it. So when you're doing your New Year's program, make sure that it is total wellness. Make sure it is abundant health. Let's just say that. But pillar number 4 is sleep. And how well do you sleep? Do you have a routine? Do you get a solid night of rest? We're going to talk about this, and we're going to teach you ways to maintain a healthy sleeping routine to the best of your ability. I live in a camper and travel full time. So, I have small quarters. So I hear my husband watching TV right next to me. So, I've had to learn ways, like maybe I have the things on my ears or the sound machine, but our body, our health revives through our sleep. So this is a really important pillar that we're going to teach you a lot about. Um, and then our fifth pillar is change, which is probably the pillar that holds most people back the most. So what you're going to find different about Abundant Health compared to some other programs is we're really going to dig deep into self-awareness and emotional regulation. In fact, our whole first month in January is all about change, and we're talking about having a growth mindset, becoming self-aware, and learning to emotionally regulate. Because if you're not ready to change, you won't change. And you may short term, right? And I told you guys at the beginning of this is a 12-month program because of that. Because we understand as your coaches that it takes a long time to develop lasting change. Lasting change doesn't happen in this short little window. It happens over a long period. So inside our program, we're going to become self-aware. Like we're going to ask you hard questions that maybe you don't really want to dig into. But if you truly want change, we have to start to become self-aware of these things. So teaching you how to have this growth mindset, it is a skill that you can learn. And I want to just say that for all of these pillars, because you may be like, oh, I can't remove stress, or oh, I can't change, or oh, I can never have a good sleep habit. All of these things have skills attached to them that we're going to teach you. Okay, so they are things that you can learn. You just have to commit to the process of it. So, this is our fifth pillar here. And then, of course, our secret sauce, like Nikki already shared and like Ray also shared, is we're bringing God into this journey. Because the truth is, for years, about 7 years, I did this women's conference called Freedom Living Women's Conference. And I always send out a survey. I've surveyed hundreds of women about the things that keep them trapped. Like, what are your bondages? And a lot of times, it's marriage or financial. But the number one bondage of hundreds of these women that I have surveyed is always their physical health. And attached to that becomes our self-image or our self-confidence, the way we walk into a room. I've noticed that myself. If I'm not physically where I know I need to be, sometimes I don't even show up as confidently, And this is the number one bondage. And if God truly wants us to have an abundant life, if Jesus said, I came so that you can have life and have it abundantly, don't you think that your Father, like your heavenly Father, the one who created you, don't you think he cares about your number one bondage? Like, just think about that for a second, because I think sometimes we think God cares about that or he cares about that, but he doesn't really care about my physical health or my self-image or my self-confidence. He doesn't need to be bothered with that. And ladies, this just isn't true. Truly I think about my 4-year-old daughter. I think about if she was struggling, if she was trapped in bondage, that would be the number one thing I would want her to talk to me about. And the studies have proven, like the facts are, these are the things that keep us trapped as women. And you're probably on this webinar because you have felt trapped in this area. God cares about it. Like he cares about it so much because he cares about you. And he wants you to bring him into this journey because he does have an abundant life planned for you in all areas of your life. And so this is what abundant health is all about. And I want to ask you a question, and I want to be mindful of your time. So I apologize if it feels like I'm going a little quickly here. For any of you who have further questions after this webinar, you're more than welcome to schedule a call with one of us coaches or all of us if we're available. We would be happy to answer your questions further and also get to know a little bit about your health too, because it's hard in a setting like this with, I think we have 12 people on the call right now. It's hard for us to ask you specifically, hey, what are you struggling with? Or where do you need help in your health? So, by all means, if you have questions after this, just reach out to one of us. And if you would like to jump on another call where there's less people, we can. Okay. But for the sake of time, I want you to just think about this and feel free to screenshot it if you want to and write your answer down later. But if you change nothing about your current health situation, where will you be 1 year from now? So think back to like last Christmas when you were maybe trying to set your New Year's goals. Here we are, like time just keeps going, right? We're 12 months later, it's the end of 2025. If you do nothing for your health, where will you be a year from now? What about 5 years from now? Truly ask yourself, where would your health be 5 years from now? I know for my mom is a big piece of my journey. I don't know if she's on this webinar right now or not, but she is a big reason why I got into health. I remember being 15 years old when I took my first job in fitness, and my mom never took care of herself because she was always taking care of us. And this is the story of women, of moms especially. We're always taking care of, like, I hear my 4-year-old in there right now saying, Mommy, we're just always caring for them. And my mom just never took care of herself. And fast forward to this day, she has a lot of health problems. And she just never had the time or maybe the financial resources to care for herself. And it just progressed over time to where now She has a lot of health issues, and the liver medication to save her liver, guys, $5,000 a month. Like we just have to understand that if we keep ignoring this, it doesn't get better. It doesn't go away. It will not go away. It only progresses until we reach a point where, like my mom, she's very ill, like stage 3 liver problems. And the medicine they needed to give her was $5,000 a month, and she couldn't afford that. And thankfully, God answered that prayer, and she was able to get on this medicine, but it wasn't through her insurance. They didn't cover it. So I share that because sometimes we think I'll do it next year or I'll do it next month, and the years just keep going. I mean, my daughter's about to turn 5 next week, and I remember when she was born, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get healthy. And every year I've said that, and I'm still way further off than I was pre-kids, right? Because I just keep saying, I'll do it, I'll do it, I'll do it, and then I don't. So we just truly have to be honest with ourselves when we ask this question. Where will we be a year from now if we do nothing? Where will we be 5 years from now if we do nothing with our health? Abundance is ours. It was the gift that Jesus gave us. When he left this earth, he said, I have come so that you may have life and have it abundantly. Abundantly. Anything that is less than abundance is the enemy coming to steal and destroy our lives. That's what Satan comes to do. And I think he thrives in this area of our physical health because he knows if he can steal that from us, it can hold us back from a whole lot of other things. If we physically can't walk, or if we have diabetes, or if we have these aches and pains, or low self confidence, like it steals so much abundance from us, guys. And Jesus said, abundance is ours, and our time is now to take that back, to hold each other accountable, to do that, to walk with each other and hold hands along this journey. So this is just in a short little script, kind of what we're going to walk through. And we can send you this information if you need it after. In fact, you should get an automated email at the end of this webinar that has links to sign up with a little more details as well. But this is a year-long biblical approach to taking back control of your health. I already told you our 5 pillars. Each pillar has different skills associated with it. Okay, so over 12 months, these are the skills that you are going to learn. Yes, preparing is a skill that you learn. You don't just say, I'm going to meal prep, yay, and then you do it. I mean, maybe for a week or two, but you have to learn the skill behind it, right? Emotional regulation is a skill. Eating well consistently is a skill. These are the 12 skills we are going to teach you over 12 months. The very first month, we're talking about change. Month 1, January. And the skills associated with actually changing your health long term is becoming self-aware, having a growth mindset, and learning to regulate your emotions. So those are the 3 things in January that we are going to deep dive into with you. Now, with each skill that we teach you, you're also going to have habits. I couldn't fit them all on this page, but we have 44 habits that we are going to rewire in our brain. Because often the problem is like our brain has just soaked up this habit that is super unhealthy, and we have to go in and rewire this. So you're going to have 44 different habits over a 52-week period that are going to be introduced to you. Okay, this week we're talking about this habit. This week we're talking about this habit. We're just going to habit stack. We're just going to build upon each habit as they start to become our lifestyle. Okay, so inside the app, which I don't think I included this on here, but well, okay, you are going to have an app, and this kind of shows exactly what you're getting. But inside our app, you're going to have a weekly PDF lesson. It's a workbook that you can either do digital or you can print it out like paper to pen. Beautiful workbook that's been created for you with all of your lessons inside it. And every Monday, you're going to have a new lesson based on one of these habits. You're also a couple days later going to have an audio lesson, a different lesson that you can listen to while you're walking or doing dishes. You are going to get a monthly video lesson as well. So a pre-recorded video lesson that we kind of recap the things we're teaching you in your PDF lesson. And we all learn differently. This is why we have 3 options for you. Some of us, we hear and we do well. Some of us we see. Some of us need to write it down. So you're going to have lots of different formats for your lessons. But you're going to have this VIP accountability group inside our app. So within the app, you're going to be able to do your measurements right inside of there. You're going to have a tracking system. We're going to check in as far as measurements and do like a monthly health assessment. Where's our stress level? Have we lost any inches? Are we toning up? And we're going to show you how to get the right pictures for your progress, everything you need for your assessments within there. But you're also going to be able to access the community. So all the ladies are going to be in there. And some people prefer to be attached to like an accountability partner. And you can go even further inside there by finding accountability partners to maybe do your workouts with. We are going to do a monthly group Zoom call. So just like this, but instead of me talking at you so much, you're going to be talking to. Okay. So there's three of us coaches, and depending on how many ladies we have, we'll break it down into a few of you might talk with Nikki, a few of you with me, a few of you with Ray, where we not only discuss the lesson of the month, but help you troubleshoot, where you share, this is what I'm struggling with. Maybe you don't know how to meal prep. Maybe this is what you need help with. So every month we're going to get on a Zoom and we're going to talk through the things that you're struggling with. Okay. And then the beauty of this is there are three of us. So we all three are going to be able to help you have a successful year. We're going to give you workout plans inside of there. And this is what I'm going to tell you guys. I'm going to give you the 300% guarantee. Okay. And this is what it means 300%. This program is going to work 100% of the time for 100% of the people, all of you guys on here, if you implement 100% of what we tell you. So if you trust us and if you walk with us for 12 months and you implement the things that we are going to teach you about your health, I promise you, guarantee you, 12 months from now, you will be so much healthier. You will sit here at Thanksgiving next year. Your pants are going to feel lighter and you're going to feel great. You're going to feel like you have control over your health again. And that's our promise to you if you stick with this program and commit to it. Okay, so again, we don't have a lot of time to get one-to-one right now. I'm hoping we can open up for some questions in just a second as long as time permits. But you have two options here. Okay, you can do nothing, not take this leap of faith, remain stuck, because it's a leap of faith to commit to 12 months with someone, right? To commit to yourself for 12 months is a big deal. But if we don't, we're going to remain stuck. Or we can take action. You can invest in yourself and watch the value of your health unfold for the rest of your life, okay? Because it really is, if you have your health, it's the most important thing of all. So let's talk a little bit about what it would look like to get into this program, okay? So I already told you everything that you're going to get. Now, if you were to go down the road to, and I know this because I had a physical brick and mortar studio for a long time. If you were to go hire a nutritionist, if you were to go hire a coach, you would easily pay well over $3,900 for a program like this, okay? Just trust me. I'm not going to break it all down to you just because of time. But if you were to go find a coach to do something like this, you would pay this much money. Now, the good thing is we don't charge this much because there are three of us. So we're able to balance this out a little bit more than one coach who you were going to pay. Okay. But the bad news is this is what I know is true. Some of you saw that $3,900 and you're like, "Ugh, checked out. Like, I don't have that money. I can't do that, right?" And this, please hear me, this is not to minimize any financial situations, but this is to maximize the value you see in yourself. And I think as women, we really struggle with this, ladies. We're not going to charge you $3,900. I will tell you our price in a minute. But before I do that, I need you to just ask yourself, like, what are you worth? What is the value of your own health? Because I told you, my mom has a very serious liver problem. And because she didn't see her value for all those years and never took the time to invest in learning nutrition or healthy living, the medicine was now $5,000 a month. Guys, this is real life stuff. If we don't take care of our health, it's going to cost way more than $3,900 as it continues to get worse. So I really just want you to know that you have so much value And ask yourself this for a second. Nobody's unmuted, nobody's going to hear you. Just think it to yourself. What do you consider yourself worth? Would you consider yourself worth maybe a couple $100 or maybe a couple $1,000? Maybe not at all. Like 5,000, no way, check me out. I'm not worth that much. And I know you're thinking this isn't really tied to my worth, but I promise you it does. It ties to what we see in ourselves, what we value in ourselves or don't value. But God, He says we're priceless, and He says that He He looks at us and He sees complete worth and value. And I know for some of you, you're like, that's great. God sees value in me, but God's not paying my bills right now, right? So I wanted to share with you, there is a way that you can get this program. We have a referral program. We've tried to set up ways to help everyone so that if you don't have the money, you can invite a couple friends and get yours for free. And this is something that we will explain to you here, how to make this work, okay? But just let me ask you this before I give you our price breakdowns and our Black Friday deals. If all this program did was help you break free from negative self-image, that destructive self-talk that goes on right here in your head all the time, what would that be worth to you? Like if you could imagine, just imagine, close your eyes and imagine 12 months from now, not having negative self-talk, not having low self-esteem. What would the price be that you would put on that? Okay, if this program could help you get off that yo-yo diet so that you're not continually doing this 6-week challenge or continually doing the 21-day fix because you just keep falling off. If you could learn to gain a healthy relationship with food for life, for long term, what would that value be to you? Think about it. What would that be? And if we could learn, and this may be the most valuable of all to me, if I can learn to align my health journey with God's word 24/7, every hour of the day, where I'm not faltering because this is what God says about me, man, what would that be worth? What would that be worth? So it is going to help you with those things, but it's also going to help you gain self-confidence, fit into your skinny jeans. Well, let's be real. We all want to fit into our skinny jeans. Like I have not thrown away my clothes, and my oldest is 7. I haven't worn those clothes for 8 years, and I live in a camper, guys, so I have very small storage. But I promise you, I packed a couple pair of those skinny jeans underneath my camper. It's like, why? I need to just throw them away and start over. But we all want that. We all want to feel good. We want to fit back in those clothes. We want to have energy, right? Do you just want to have energy? I just want to have energy to get through my day without feeling like you need a nap halfway through or to reduce the inflammation. For me, this is a big one. I was an athlete for years and I get these big knots in my shoulders. And just being able to reduce the inflammation from the foods we put in our body. We're going to show you how to do that, how to reduce your stress, find your peace, deepen your relationship with God, learn your value of how He sees you. Because, like I said, this is our bondage as women, the number one for women, and He cares about it. So, what would that be worth to you? If you committed to 12 months and you got these things, what would be the price tag on that? Would you consider it worth it? So let me share with you our breakdown of our program, and I'm going to show you how you can get it for free too. So don't check out yet, okay? So I showed you all the things that's included, and I told you if you go hire a single coach, you're easily going to spend probably about $4,000 or more to work for an entire year with someone. So our total price of our entire year, and I'll show you how to break this down into smaller pieces, is $1,897, okay? Now, the way that we can break this down, we have a couple different options. You can do monthly through a payment plan. Now, we have this program where it's bring 3, get yours free. Okay, so if you bring 3 friends who sign up for this program, that's when you can basically, the way that would work is you're still going to pay yours. Okay, you're still going to physically have, and this is more of an accounting thing than anything, but you're going to bring yours in, but then you're going to get those credits back from the people you refer. So if you're already thinking, man, I don't know how I could afford this, start thinking about who are friends that could use this? Who are friends that could use this in their life too? Okay. So the options here is you could do a monthly payment plan at 197 per month, or you can pay in full. If you pay up front in full, there is a savings there. It saves us on our processing fees for credit card companies. So that's a big deal there. So now, the good thing about being the first ones on the launch call, like we have not launched this program yet. So you guys are the first ones hearing about it. We've been building it over the last couple months, and we've been working really hard to build you an exceptional program. But because it's Black Friday week, it used to be just a day, like it was Black Friday, and now it's like Black Friday month, I feel like. So it's Black Friday week, let's just say that. We're going to give this sale from today until the last day of November. So I think it's literally 7 days. So until next Sunday. So you do have a little bit of time to think about it if you're not quite sold yet, or maybe you need to find 3 friends that you want to share this webinar with and get them on board with you. We are going to offer this Black Friday deal though, where you can get it for $177 per month for life. Okay. So for the entire 12 months, and I got a feeling we're going to have so much fun with this that it'll probably happen again the next year. Okay. So you can lock that price in for life, or if you pay all up front, it'd be $1,657 total for the whole year. Okay. So that pricing is good for the next 7 days. Okay. Now with that whole invite 3, get yours free thing, we have an ambassador program too, because our goal that we've set as a team is to help 100 women this year. So there are going to be ways not only that you can get yours for free, but you can get percentage kickback from every person you invite. Okay. So if you're starting to think of friends that want to do this with you, we would love to speak with them or share this webinar with them. So before we go, I know we've been on here for an hour. So before we go, I just want to share with you a couple different ways that maybe you're spending some money and look at your budget and see if there are ways where you could get rid of some dollar bills that maybe you love to get your hair done or your pedicures or the coffee shop. Gosh, it's $7 every time you walk in that door. Eating out, this is a huge one, and we'll help you. We'll show you ways to cook and prepare better at home so you're not having to eat out as much. But you can easily spend, I can't take my family out anywhere, there's 4 of us, without spending more than $50. Entertainment, shopping, car payments, and just wasted money that isn't gonna, we don't even realize. So I want you to think about how are different ways I'm spending this much money. And if I took 12 months and put it to my health, how long would that investment pay off in the long run? Like forever, you're going to have your health as long as you keep maintaining it, right? So that gives you a few different ways where you could look and say, oh, maybe I could cut this out for a little bit. So I'm going to ask you this question again. How do you want to proceed? What are you going to do in 2026? And I asked you guys this question at the beginning. If you change nothing, where will you be next Thanksgiving at this time? In fact, think about how many Thanksgivings over the past decade you've been like, man, my pants are so tight. I just ate way too much this whole year, not just on Thanksgiving, but this whole year. And I'm gonna do better next year. Like, how many times do we do that? You're not alone in that. This journey is so that we can all hold hands and walk together for 12 whole months so that Thanksgiving next year, when you're sitting in the same seat, you're going to say, wow, that was the best decision I ever made. That truly, and truly, we can say as your coaches that if you commit to this process, you will sit in the seat a year from now and you will say, wow, that was the best decision I ever made. I am so thankful I chose to invest in my health. So, with that being said, I'm not honestly sure if this webinar will kick off or not in 2 minutes because I set the time for 1 hour. So if something happens, it just shuts off. Just beware, it's on Zoom's end. But you should get an email after this that gives you 2 payment links if you decide you want to sign up. One's going to say paid in full, and you can put the discount code in at checkout, and the other is the monthly plan. And in that email, I've attached the code that you're going to want to put in when you sign up. Okay, it's a Black Friday code. You're going to want to put that code in, and it's good for 7 days, guys. Okay, so 7 days. You can share this webinar. You're going to get a link to the replay as well. And you can share this with friends if you're thinking, how could I make this happen for myself? invite some friends along, let them listen in. I want you guys to really pray about and think about what would this look like if I took an entire year and just focused on my health. For me, truly, I'm not where I need to be in my health. And this is my focus, my personal focus for the next year is getting myself healthier. And I hope and pray that you will do that too. So, you guys all have a way to connect with at least one of us has invited you to this webinar. So, reach out with questions. Think about some friends you can invite. Bring 3, get yours free. Okay, so think about some friends you can bring along. Um, and then let us know your questions, and the email will be sent out to you where you can sign up if you decide you want to join. We would love to have you. It's going to be an amazing year. So, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording and the video so you guys can get to your Sunday night relaxation or whatever you do on Sunday nights. And we will be in touch with you guys soon.